hello, hello. Welcome to the Rose Gold Pink Show. Welcome in. I don't know if we had a glitch or not, but yes, I've been going through with my stuff, and so I'm finally back, and I am redoing some of the stuff about the Epstein files. I don't know if you caught me live yesterday when I finally went live. They did a lot of stuff to my videos, so I'm re-uploading like a lot of people who do the Epstein files have to do. So let's see if the second time around will be the charm. So first I want to say this video is protected by fair use and copyright infringement, fair use with the Act of 1960 something. YouTube and all the videos collected here is for fair use and for entertainment and educational, I'm gonna say educational purposes, but also entertainment purposes. So I'm gonna say that. And also, the people in this video have not yet been convicted of any crime, so everything here is alleged until they are charged with the crime. So everyone here is proven innocent until proven guilty by the court of law. So by no more waste of time, let's get back into the Epstein files, and the victims of Epstein. Recently, we had Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton testify. And so, like I said, everything here is alleged and no one is guilty until they have been charged. And so everyone in this video is innocent until proven guilty. So let's get into the first video. Okay. We are going to talk about Miss Jaguar Wright again, but in a different note. Hello, welcome in. We are redoing the Epstein video. I have some more videos for you guys because they let me keep some of them up, but everyone here is innocent until proven guilty. And so copyright, this is fair use for entertainment and educational purpose. So let's get into the first video again. And so hopefully it is staying up this time about Jaguar Wright and the Epstein stuff. So come in, please come in and like, and let's go. So
It all comes as survivors of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have released a PSA. It all comes as survivors of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have released a PSA urging Congress to vote on releasing all the files related to this case. Let's take a listen to that.
I was 14 years old. I was 16 years old.
I was 16, 17, 14 years old.
This is me. This was me. This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein. There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
That heartbreaking video ends with a call to action for voters to tell their Congress members to vote yes on the release of these files. That vote could take place as early as tomorrow. I want to bring in now White House reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester. Julia, I want to start with this change of course from President.
well, I'm a little late, and thank God that the Epstein files have been brought to light. That bill that they asked for has passed, and I wanted to show the victims for you guys because people have been talking in particular, Miss Jaguar Wright, even though, she's brought light to the Diddy and Epstein stuff, so I can't be too mad at her about that, but still, she was not in the files at all, and you see the women that was in the files, and yes, so those are the women. So you see the victims that's here. If you have not been following the trial, Hillary and Bill Clinton have testified. So let's go into the video before I go back into the other video of the one I did before. So yeah, so one more video right now. Let's go into that before the other video. And here it is. This is the 60 Minutes thing about him right there. So let's...
Well, we definitely received substantial evidence that he was involved in trafficking young women and children to the Virgin Islands for a very long period of time through our airport, through his private jet. And then he would, by helicopter or sometimes boat, would then transport them over to Little St. James. And that's where he has his complex where he lives, which is his official residence as well. And that these young girls and women were subject to sexual assault, sexual exploitation, through coercion, false imprisonment, where the passports at some points were taken away. The actions were just reprehensible. And it was quite a number of women, and we found through our investigation that at least up to 2018 that continued.
So what your investigation is showing is the broad scope of Jeffrey Epstein's nefarious activities, that it just kept going.
Based on the evidence that we found thus far. Let me make something very clear. Jeffrey Epstein was very good at protecting himself and being secret. The secrecy he was very good at that. And because of his wealth, his power, he was able to do that and secure that. So when you think about it, he owns a private island. That's an island over a mile away from St. Thomas, the main island. And it's out there and it's isolated. He purchases that, right? Then he owns the jet that flew in to the airport. It's under a name of one of the front companies that actually has been named in our complaint, but it's him. He's the member of that LLC. And he owns the helicopter and the boats that took or transported him and the women and children over to the island. So when you think about that, it's him orchestrating all of that. Yes, there may have been baggage handlers. There may have been other persons who looked and saw him and other females with young girls. Yes, but I think that it's important that we focus on how Jeffrey Epstein was so able to create such an elaborate scheme, especially by doing it in such secrecy. And he had the money and power to create the secrecy so that not just local authorities, but we have federal authorities here too, that are here all along. Not even they might have been able to see it. In looking at that, you have to really, get a good understanding of how he was able to protect and isolate himself. Once you get on that island, how do you get off? It's not like a person who's on the island can just say, okay, I'm going to swim to St. Thomas. They can't do that. It's not like a person who's there and needs help that they can sneak away and run outside and flag down a vehicle or flag down a police car or run to the nearest police station like they might be able to do on St. Thomas, on the main island. The island is isolated. So that kind of isolation is really what you have to look at when you start to think, how could this have happened for so long?
I think the picture you paint is a terrifying one of isolation, but also abuse of power. And I just wonder why the people who worked for Jeffrey Epstein weren't terrified for the girls going over there. They knew how isolated that island was. They knew the ages of those girls. They saw powerful men there. Why weren't they terrified? Why didn't they become whistleblowers?
Well, one thing I do know, first of all, is that there are the non-disclosure agreements that Jeffrey Epstein had all of the employees, if not most of them, sign. Then they had to agree not to disclose any information to law enforcement or anyone else for, regarding what goes on that island. And even after Jeffrey Epstein's death, those non-disclosure agreements are still in place and still enforced by the estate. So this was just one of the ways that you can pretty much intimidate or silence people. But in addition to that, when you see someone connected with powerful people who may visit the island, or he may be involved with, whether it doesn't have to be here, it could be anywhere in the world, and it's known that these powerful people are his friends and associates. That alone is intimidating to the ordinary citizen who's sitting there and watching this and say, ooh, that does not look good. But could you imagine the reluctance of that person to say, I'm going to come forward, I'm going to tell on that person who's friends with all these powerful people? So that alone, the way that he surrounded himself with these powerful people, that was an example of the kind of intimidation that would cause what you're saying, people to be silent about what they may see or suspect. As far as the Virgin Islands is concerned, we need to make sure that the Virgin Islands is not perceived as a haven for this kind of sexual exploitation, human trafficking, and sexual and child abuse. We have to make that clear. It is very important that we enforce our laws against human trafficking, against child abuse, against child and sexual exploitation of women. It is important that we do that, because if I don't do it, as the Attorney General, the top law enforcement person, if we do not do it in the Virgin Islands, then those types of crimes will continue to flourish.
All right. Yep, and that is right. So you saw some of the victims' faces. They put their stuff out there. So there's finally a trial. And even though Epstein got away somehow, other people should be prosecuted, and it should be looked into, like in America and the Virgin Islands, the Epstein Islands, and the rest of them. But let's continue while I still can. And also, this is fair use for entertainment and educational purpose for the fair use copyright laws. This is fair use. So yes, and also, all the people that's in this video are innocent until proven guilty. So everyone in this video is innocent until proven guilty. Thank you. And everything here is alleged, people. Everything here is alleged. But yes, let's look at some more of these files. We saw some of the victims. We heard what the lady was saying in the Virgin Islands. That's what I want to know, because I know about the America, but what are the people surrounding the island saying? And so I got that video. So even though YouTube was tripping, I still was able to get that video, and so I'm happy about that. So let's look at some more videos with this thing right here. Okay, and here's some more of the victims again. And in this video, you're going to see like the mindset of some of the victims that Epstein preyed on. You know, how did he get these girls? What was the operation in the Virgin Islands? Okay, he owned the planes. He owned the doctor's office. That's what the last video was about from the other video, but I'm going to re-show it. And so he had his own doctors. He had his own cooks, chefs, and he told people that he knew a lot of people in power. and he make them sign non-disclosures. But like some other people said, this non-disclosures don't protect you with the crime. But who's gonna speak against Epstein, the guy with his own planes and his own island? Who's gonna speak against him? And he knows all of these famous political peoples, Trump, Clintons, and all these people, Bill Gates. I'm going to show you a video about him again from yesterday. But yes, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Everything in this video is for educational and learning purposes, and everything in here is alleged. Okay, so let's get into the mindset of some of the victims. So we can do the whole round about how what happened and how these people get here. How did, Epstein get to be where he was with, committing so many crimes. And so here we go. Let's see what was on the victim's mind. Oh, yeah, I forgot. And so, yeah, back to the Virgin Islands. I almost forgot. Yeah, and we need to study this as a people so this won't happen again. We need to protect women and children. We need to protect women and children. We need to protect women and children so this won't happen. So we need to investigate the minds of the victims. How did you get here? The minds of the predator, the minds of the people who saw this and said nothing. And the politicians and the celebrities as well that seen this stuff and somehow felt that it was not their obligation or afraid to come forward with this stuff. So yeah, please like, and share. Next video. Okay, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Backgrounds. There was some dysfunction in their families. The lure of a lot of money was more than they were able to resist.
I went from an abusive situation to being a runaway to living in foster homes to just already being hardened by life on the streets.
The other girls that I personally know of that were coming from trailer parks, that were having gun shootings, drugs.
My mother was on drugs at the time, and she couldn't provide for me, and I was pretty much homeless.
One child would be lured over, would be paid substantial sums of money, would be offered the further inducement of being paid a bounty for anybody else that she was able to bring to Epstein. A network developed where many young girls in the same kinds of circumstance wound up being victimized.
The three of us slid into the backseat of the cab and we drove, and I remember just driving down Okeechobee Boulevard and thinking how I had never been on Palm Beach Island before in my whole entire life, that I had lived in West Palm Beach.
By the time I was 16, I brought in up to 75 girls, all the ages of 14, 15, 16, people going from 8th grade to 9th grade at just school parties. That's where I recruit them from. All Jeffrey cared about was go find me more girls. His appetite was insatiable. He couldn't stop. He wanted new, fresh, young faces.
Look at all these names.
The sheer volume of girls, the frequency, sometimes several or many in the same day, the age of the girls. In some cases, there were victims that didn't know each other, had never met each other, but they had basically the same story.
I remember there was a staircase, and it was kind of like a spiral almost.
And she brings us up the stairs, and it was like spiral stairs.
You walked into his bedroom, around his bed, to almost a very little hall, and then it was another door. And that's where everything would happen. It was in his bathroom. He would have a dresser, and it was filled with the first drawer was lotion, and then the third drawer down was sex toys. So we would take the massage table out and set it up in the middle of the room.
And then he came in with his white towel on around him.
And then he just laid down in his towel on his stomach, and he was just talking to people on the phone. When he flipped over, that's when he said, okay, you can go ahead and take off your shirt and pants, but you can stay in your underwear.
He would want us to stand next to him, and he would masturbate while he stared at us, touched us.
To pull his nipples and to play with them in between his fingers, and also while I was playing with his nipples, he kept doing that stuff to me. But he was very aggressive, like when he would do it.
And then he tried to put his finger in my underwear, and I like jumped back, and I pulled back, and I was like, whoa. And he's like, no, it's okay, I'm sorry, I won't do that. And then he went back to doing that. He's like, just on the outside, and I'm like, oh my God.
It ended with sexual abuse and intercourse, and then a pat on the back. You've done a really good job. Like, thank you very much, and here's $200. Before you know it, I'm being lent out to politicians and to academics and to people that royalty and people that you would never think, like, how did you get into that position of power in the first place if you're this disgusting, evil, decrepit person on the inside?
Epstein, then in his 50s, was also suspected of organizing sex activities with underage girls at his homes in New York City, New Mexico, and on his private island in the Caribbean.
You're talking about hundreds of children all over the world.
Victims that were alleged sex slaves of Jeffrey Epstein, that they brought over from Eastern Bloc countries.
I've seen hundreds and hundreds of girls go through Jeffrey's swinging door, his ever-revolving door.
This guy is big time. He knows people that know people that know people.
Flight logs from his plane and his address book read like a who's who of some of the richest and most famous and powerful people in the world. Celebrities, actors, philanthropists, academics, and world leaders.
It's really disappointing to look, as a lawyer, to look at this circumstance and say, how did this happen? One individual commits one abuse of a minor, in one instance of abuse of a minor, and they're held accountable for years and years through the criminal justice system.
But like I said in my other video, dealing with Jaguar, yeah, that's it. The 3-strike law, y'all remember that, black people? I think the people, especially Epstein, did more than 3 strikes. And he's out, and they gave him some BS sentencing the first time in 2005. What if he would have stayed in jail in 2005? Will we still have victims today in 2018? That's when the last victim was, 2018? Yeah. What if he would have got the 3 strikes? What if Clinton would have got the 3 strikes? Would we have this story to tell in 2018, you guys? But yes, remove the 3-strike law, because it's only taking the regular citizens and the regular Americans and the blacks to jail. Everybody else that's doing millions and billions of crimes, they just walking scot-free. Again, even if indicted, not even indicted for these crimes. So yes, fair use, fair use. This video is protected by the copyright law. And everyone in this video is innocent until proven guilty. Everything here is alleged. And this video is also for educational and learning purposes. So hopefully we learn that these people are criminals and we take them to prison forever. Yeah. Okay. We're going to try this last video again. And so, hold on. This last video again. So, let's try to do this. And so, yeah. But I'm glad she said that, you know, about these people doing crime after crime after crime. And they just chilling. And so we're gonna, without further ado, bring out Miss Jaguar again. And so, yeah.
The podcast up on Netflix, he has this great responsibility, right? Because he brought.
But, you know, let's go and talk about the Epstein in the room.
Sure. Let's talk about the weirdo in the walls.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that you said that as far as people not believing. This might be technically considered the largest scandal like that we've seen like in our era or just, you know, in American history right now. And just as of July of 2025, you know, they've created this, what is called the Epstein Files Transparency Act, where you can't, these
Yay.
Put out there. My first question before we even get into the list and the names is, why do you think the DOJ, the Department of Justice, kept these files hidden for so long? Whether through Trump or what's the reason we haven't seen these files?
It's not just the Trump administration. Don't forget the Biden administration had the ability to release these files as well, and they didn't either.
True.
So this isn't a political thing. Let's stop making it political. I think everyone wants to make it political. Oh, look at the politicians, and this isn't about the rappers, and this isn't about this, and this is about the politicians. No, it's not. No, it's not, because you got Democrats and Republicans equally aligned up in this whole foolishness.
Yep.
This is about a certain class of people in this country that have been doing all kinds of shit. And it really doesn't matter what your religious background is, what your social standing is, or what your political standing is. It really doesn't matter. This is not about them versus us. Or no. This is about the weirdos and then the normal people.
Yep.
And not even normal people, just decent people. The problem is that the weirdos are outnumbering. It's looking like the decent people.
Yep.
10-1. Like, does anybody get that? Like, the simple fact that nobody is holding TMZ into account for anything, and they've been mentioned in these files. Harvey Levin specifically.
Yeah.
Can't say nothing.
Wow.
All of this stuff is coming out. What's the difference?
Yeah, I think Epstein with underage girls triggered a bigger alarm.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Why is nobody paying attention to the fact that there were underage girls that were allegedly attached to Diddy as well? Unfortunately, one of them, Anna Kane, who was a minor as well, who was underage, when she was flown from Michigan to New York. Well, actually from...
Well, yeah, I should have stopped it there when I first stopped. But thank you, Jaguar, right? You know, you are the victim advocate. You stood on business for Diddy. You brought attention to the trial and to the victims. And now you're standing on business for Epstein files. And you deserve that that award that Liz Crokin gave you. And thank you also, Miss Liz Crokin, for what you've done and exposing this stuff and changing laws so this won't happen again in America. And also the Black Attorney General that I showed earlier, looking into it to change laws to protect other women and children in the world from this disgusting, grotesque stuff by these disgusting, grotesque people. So thank you, Liz Krogan. Thank you, Jaguar Wright. Thank you, Jacqueline Wright. And may your affairs get back in order so you can get back in your life now that these weirdos are being slowly put away. So thank you again, Jack. And we're going to look at another video. The one I tried to do, but you know, things happen for a reason. And I found 2 more videos that I wanted to do. So I'm putting these videos together now. And so it was meant to happen. Please like and share. And I'm going to redo my other video that I had before. And yes, the black. This is from the Black Cauldron. Some of her stuff in here. I shared her before. But I'm not going to show her per se, because I just want to put that in there for her and thank her for the video that I am doing. Her name will be put in there, but like for right now, I'm not going to show her face because she didn't show her face in the video that much, so I'm not going to do that.
Finished the university degree that he's...
Okay. Yep.
Who seem to move quietly between powerful circles. Around this time, another important person entered the picture, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell was a British socialite who was already well...
Okay, we're gonna go a little further.
Around this time, another important person entered the picture.
Okay, now still sorry. Oh, I still should do.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell was a British socialite who was already well known in elite circles in the UK before she later moved to New York. She was the daughter of Robert Maxwell, a powerful media businessman. Now, people often said that she was very close to her father. He even named his yacht after her, Lady Ghislaine. Her father's story ended mysteriously after he disappeared from that yacht, and then he was later found dead in the sea. Not long after his death, investigators uncovered massive financial fraud inside his companies, including money taken from employee pension funds. That scandal, it destroyed his reputation and wiped out the family's fortune almost overnight. Even with all that, very powerful people attended his funeral in Israel. Israel's prime minister at that time, Yitzhak Shamir, he gave a speech praising him, and he said he had done high school students from nearby public schools. Even though Epstein lived in one of the richest areas of Palm Beach, not everybody nearby was wealthy. Some of these girls came from ordinary homes or financially struggling families, and the money that was being offered to them, it felt significant. Several said that they were paid cash for massages and that it turned... Many accused Epstein of assaulting them. Some said Ghislaine had helped to recruit them and had also taken part in the sex. Some girls said that they were encouraged to bring their friends, which turned this situation into some sort of trafficking ring, among teenage social circles. For most people, accusations this serious would lead straight to major criminal trial. But Epstein is not most people. In 2008, he accepted a controversial plea deal with federal prosecutors. He avoided federal charges and he served a short jail sentence with very unusual privileges. He could leave the jail in the daytime and only come back to sleep. That deal shocked people, especially because the victims were not fully informed. After that, the case slowly faded from headlines. Epstein returned to private life, and for a while, it looked like the story was over. But for the victims, it wasn't over.
Yes, look at the victim. This is crazy. But yes, everyone in this video besides Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are innocent until proven guilty. Everything here is alleged, and this is protected by fair use and the copyright laws for educational and learning purposes and entertainment purposes as well. So back to the video.
Continued to speak out. They filed civil suits. They kept pushing for accountability. All this time, Epstein was just moving freely, growing in wealth, growing in, connections. More than 10 years later, the story exploded back into public attention. In 2018, investigative journalists, they published reports showing how the plea deal had been negotiated, how the victims had been left out of the process. Public anger grew quickly. One of the people who helped to bring renewed attention to the case was Virginia Giuffre. Now, Virginia said that she met Ghislaine Maxwell as a teenager while she was working at a luxury private resort in Florida called the Mar-a-Lago, a place that is owned by Donald Trump.
Yes, we heard that story there, so we're going to go a little forward. Yeah, we're going to go a little forward. Okay.
Thirsty, and then they put their in their mouths because they
Major trigger warning. If you're not going through the files, I am. And here are some of the most disturbing things I have seen. They trafficked little girls. They got them pregnant. They took their babies. They starved the babies, made them very thirsty, and then they put their in their mouths because they knew the babies would suck harder. They joke about cream cheese. They are referring to breast milk in the intestines tasting good because they ate them. Well, actually, they were probably eating their own as well. All of our children are accessible to all of these predators because their school photos were handed over to, yeah, MAGA, your kids were handed over too. They wrote emails back and forth like, got a good 10-year-old, got a good 8-year-old, virgin, just your style, you want it? But the saddest part here, the most disturbing part, is that Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dan Bongino, Steve Miller, Bannon, all these people and the 1,000 FBI agents that redacted the files, they know who all these perpetrators are. They know that children were killed, buried, put in the water, put in fields. They know where they are. They know who the perpetrators are, and they redacted their names. And they are sitting around eating their dinner right now, knowing the names of the people who did this. And no one in America is pressing charges or doing anything, but dozens of other countries are. Who was cooking the meals? Who was the staff? Who are the people that could speak up?
While everybody's talking about the Epstein files drop, I saw this and it's sickening and infuriating.
I'm so done with these people.
Yeah,
I'm so
that it was still wrong, but they tried to say that this guy had a mental illness, and this was the reason, and he felt like he was
Water all over the bed, and she was right. Like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of these tiny cries. I am so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body. It reached its tiny arm up and it had a tiny foot. Closed my eyes and no more cries. They yelled and screamed and he said it would be the same in a couple months. I don't understand what is going on and no one will tell me. I can't go to school like this. I can't stop shaking. Why didn't I close my eyes? In the hall, Ghislaine said she was beautiful. She was, not is. She was a beautiful girl. I heard her. Where is she? Why did she stop whimpering? She was born. I heard her tiny cries. I can't do this anymore. He was right. A couple of months and 2 more pink lines. I want to die. Why didn't she protect me? I am nothing but your property and an incubator. Unlike drugs, a child's body can be sold over and over. This is not surprising, but there is no such thing as a child. They are children and cannot consent. Please release me from this torture and hell. I miss the person I was. My heart belonged to her. She was so very beautiful. She was perfect. I can't bring myself to write what happened. Beyond broken. I only got 10 to 15 minutes to hold and feed her before they took her. Pregnant again. I was terrified seeing so much blood on the floor. I could feel everything as she tried to guide the baby out. I could feel everything, but suddenly she caught a beautiful baby girl. Within 15 minutes, Mr. M came to take her. 4 pounds, 10 ounces. I am dead inside. Life has no meaning. I don't want to be here. That's trafficking. That's the journal of one of the survivors. That is why we fucking care. Close your eyes.
The latest accusation against Donald Trump.
Everyone is innocent to proven guilty. Everything here is alleged. And this is by fair use and copyright laws for educational and learning purposes.
A bunch of demonic rituals and basically Jeffrey Epstein sending money to Baal, aka a demonic entity. Then we see a bunch more of them insinuating different children are pregnant and so many other things of the sort. Even though Elon's on Twitter talking about he was never involved in any of this shit, it wasn't by choice. Follow me for more because I'm definitely going to keep on going through these files and informing y'all because I know it's a lot to read and it's really just disturbing to fucking go through.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know something else about Epstein that everyone seems to have just missed or glossed over just because he had masks on the wall of one of the many dentist clinics that he had on his properties? No, this was not an occult ritual. This was not even pulling teeth so you can't identify bodies, and it's certainly not to give his girlfriend practice. There's not enough critical mass at any of these properties where she'd be getting any sort of practice. No. Even if you account for girls that have gone missing. This is for... And I know the dentists know exactly what I'm going to say, but I imagine that you haven't spoken up until now because you don't want your face out there with the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors. This was for the midazolam, for the propofol, for the fucking ketamine, nitrous, diazepam, whatever the fuck they were using to get the girls to forget, to get them pliant and compliant, to get them not to remember faces and names and places and dates, to make them be unreliable witnesses so the jury doesn't trust them. That's even if they get to trial. It's even if they're alive. And they can transfer the drug between any of these offices. All you need is to say where they went. This was so you don't get flagged with your distributors when you order that shit. This, so all you need is a DEA Form 222 and you can get them. This was an operation and it wasn't for pulling teeth. And you want to know something diabolical? I have the faint suspicion that these masks were so when one of these girls woke up, they would say that they saw some outlandish face and don't trust their own memory. It's diabolical.
Yeah, crazy.
Accused Donald Trump of assault when she was between 13 and 15 years old. One of the things in her accusation is that in addition to forcing her to perform oral sex, he also hit her in that same episode. We have now connected that woman to someone who was interviewed by the FBI 4 times in 2019. Of those 4 interview memoranda, which are listed in this index that I'm holding up right here, only one of them can be seen. And in that interview, the accusations against Trump are not present. At the most, she says that she had met Trump on one occasion without detailing it. And when asked how she understood that Epstein was a person who committed abuse against her, she showed FBI agents a picture that she had been sent by a friend. It was a picture that she was reluctant to share with FBI agents because there was somebody else in the photograph. It turned out to be, according to this interview memo, a well-known photograph of Epstein and Trump together. She said that she was reluctant to show them the full image, lest she incriminate someone that she feared could retaliate against her.
Help me. Please, can't anyone find me? Barely survived those procedures. My heart is gone. April 22nd, I had no choice. I wasn't ready and she wasn't ready. My mother had found me and it was urgent. After so many bonding moments with Jeffrey Delane, their baby inside me, with me in the middle, she wouldn't even look at me. We said nothing to one another and I was so confused. When we arrived at Palm Beach, I was taken to a house close to Jeffrey's, I think called Ocean Boulevard or Street. But it was close and I was alone except for a new driver, not Mr. Juan. An elderly French lady whose pictures all over the wall didn't have her. She had a thick accent and was kind. She said she had been born to deliver babies and had been doing so before I was born. Similar as the last one with shot and hook, but too much blood with so much water and unbearable pain. She put her hands inside of me and seemed worried. I didn't understand. Something about the baby facing the wrong way and putting pressure on a placenta. Things would have to be different. She said I had to be brave and strong and listen to her directions so she could help me safely get the baby out. I was terrified, seeing so much blood on the bed and floor, and started to panic. She had me flip over to my hands and knees and had me push and push. It was so excruciating. I could feel everything as she tried to guide the baby out, but I was so tired. I felt I was dying, but suddenly she had caught a beautiful baby girl who made more than a whimper, but beautiful cries. She let me hold her and washed her and brought her back clean and perfect. She smelled so good and showed me how to feed her. But only after maybe 15 minutes, Mr. M came to take her. I was hysterical and begging for more time. He said those horrible girls were in the car waiting, but I wouldn't let her go. The old woman promised me she would be safe, and I had to let go. 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 18.5 inches long, with beautiful long fingers. I am dead inside. Life has no meaning. I don't want to be here. Jean-Luc Brunel is a disgusting pig with bad breath, and I'm almost positive does these disgusting things because he is struggling with maybe being gay. 6 weeks wasn't even given before being sent back. Punishment for trying to run. Why can no one help me? Delane is gone. I'm so lost and my heart is broken. This is my destiny. I need them, everyone, all to see. I still always dream to build a better world. She went from being a beautiful young girl to a sad, broken child. But maybe a hope that after it all, I still truly had it within. But maybe a hope that after all, I still truly had it within herself. One day, I aspired to be like this. She came in like a
We will, but I don't think that the public or you all are going to uncover men within the Epstein files that abuse women, unfortunately.
Whose blood are you drinking? I didn't. Who's the blood? That's still the animal. That's the blood. The animal. What kind of animal did you? A mole. A mole? You mean to tell me you had a big meeting after it? Hey? I thought that there was a mole. What's wrong?
We have proof that Trump is compromised by Israel, and it was in the Epstein files. So I'm going to show you.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Rose Gold Pink Show. So yeah, this is my video again of the Epstein / Jaguar Wright files. Yes, this is for copyright use, for educational and learning purposes, and copyright and what is protected by the copyright laws. And everyone in this video is innocent until proven guilty. So yes, happy Wednesday. Thank you for coming back in. Hopefully this video stays up, and hopefully I get paid by Disney soon and I can look more fabulous than this today. And please resubscribe. Happy Wednesday. Bye-bye.